Hello, everyone. This is Steph, the founder of Host Agency Reviews, and you are tuning in for the Friday 15, where every Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time, we answer your questions, and we do it from our deck during the summer, or our porch, which is why I am in a hammock. And today we have on the lovely Lindsay Taylor, and she's joining us from Alaska. Hi.
Hi, Steph. You're on a hammock. I'm on a cruise ship. It all works out, doesn't it?
It's so great. So she's on, what did you say, the Princess Sapphire?
Sapphire Princess. Yep. We're doing the southbound from Whittier down to Vancouver. It's beautiful.
Okay, because this is a great opportunity for any learning for anyone, we're going to take advantage of you being on the ship. Give us one thing you're super impressed out or that you would recommend for clients, anything along those lines for those tuning in.
You know, honestly, the crew on this ship have been incredible and have been so quick to point out. They saw my sister-in-law, it's my whole family on the ship. So my parents, my brother and sister-in-law, myself, and my sister-in-law and I have been obsessed with all the wildlife. And so the staff, anytime that they see anything, they're so quick to point it out to us so that we don't miss it. So it's been the smallest thing, but it's been the sweetest thing that's been happening this whole trip. So
that's awesome. Awesome. And I'm glad you're seeing some wildlife up there. I was on a cruise once and we were supposed to see the whales, but we didn't have any whales, and that was a little sad. I understand that they're not on a schedule, but wish they would have shown up for me. So, well, let's see. Before we get into questions, we have a couple announcements. So one is our call for speakers for Host Week is open through the end of September. So it's only a couple more weeks, and we would love to hear from you. If you're an advisor, if you're a supplier, if you're anyone that thinks you have a really great topic that you would like to teach other advisors, they're in 20 to 25-minute segments. So they're quick bites. We will pop the link into the show notes in the comments for you where you can apply. Please consider it, even if it's your first time speaking. It can be live and it can also be pre-recorded if you're really, really nervous about going live. And Lindsay, you've attended Host Week before, right?
I love Host Week. Yeah, you guys do such an amazing job.
Yeah, so after Lindsay's endorsement and mine, I hope all of you are going to be signing up to be speakers for Host Week. Again, it closes in a couple weeks, so do not delay. Let's see what else I have on my notes because I have to have notes, otherwise I will forget everything. All right, our hosted advisor report is going to go live next week, so keep an eye out. Those of you that took the survey, it will be coming out in your emails with a coupon code. And then a note, we have a couple webinars coming up I want to remind people of. One is Closing the Deal, how to get more clients to book with you. And that's Tuesday, September 24th. We'll put the link in for registration. And then the Hive is putting one on September 25th. And those that don't know, that's Whitney Schindler. And that is 5 things to prepare before every discovery call to establish your expertise and secure the new business. So great webinars for new advisors. And let's get into our questions here, Lindsay. Chrystal M wrote in. She says, hello, Friday 15 team. I live in Ontario, Canada, and my question is, how do I get into the travel industry as an advisor with no experience, but I have the schooling as well as being TICO certified? Thank you kindly for all that you do. Well, Chrystal, thank you for writing in. For the Canadian advisors out there, I reached out to ACTA since I'm not as familiar with how things work in Canada. But we will go over what ACTA said, and then we're going to talk too, because this isn't just about Canadian advisors. It's a great question for people in the US. So we'll get some tips from Lindsay on ideas on how to kind of break in if you're new. So Wendy from ACTA says, reach out to ACTA member host agencies and the travel members listed on the ACTA website. We'll link to that. It's in their About Us section and explore the career sections. And then check out our travel agency and host agency members who are hiring newcomers in the industry, and that's in the career section. Well, she wrote this to me. Okay, so I didn't catch this earlier. They do have the ACTA's Eastern Canada Travel Industry Summit taking place yesterday in Toronto, but we will put the link to ACTA events because I know they have some other ones across Canada coming up. And then if you need more specific Canadian online training, ACTA has a travel agent essentials course, and we will link to that as well. So, Lindsay, for anyone, US, Canada, wherever they are, you've worked at an agency before. How do people break in and get in if they're looking to get started?
Two different ways. So either as a staff advisor or an independent contractor. Staff advisors, when we're hiring for staff advisors, we're typically looking for people who know how to provide really good customer service. So even if you have no experience in the industry, as long as you are able to provide that excellent service, if you've got any degree of a sales background, that also does help. But we really find that on the staff side, we're able to train and then we're able to support. On the independent side, you do need that support. You do need to find a host agency who can walk alongside you as you're building your business. Obviously, those training components are super important, and I recommend those for sure. ASTA Verified, ACTA has their own, obviously. All of the different consortia have different programs. Travel Institute has incredible. So make sure that you've got the baseline training so that you're understanding the words, the acronyms, the concepts, and then partner with someone who's done it for a while so that you don't get yourself into trouble. I think that's kind of the part that a lot of people miss. Sometimes it's advertised of sell travel like it's, getting into any other industry. It's not. There are very definite liabilities involved in the sale of travel that are not found in any other retail setting. So you want to make sure that you know what you're getting into and have the supports alongside you to make sure that you're doing it well.
That's a great answer. Love it. I'm going to link to PAR's travel advisor job board. So this is for employee positions. So that's a great place. We have weekly emails that go out with any of the new jobs that are listed. So if you're looking, it's fun to just get the email. I think it goes out every Monday and you can check really quickly, see if anything is striking your fancy. But there's a definite difference for you, Chrystal, between if you're going to go the hosted route, and while hosts interview you, it's not like the employee interview you, because you don't have to have the background. They're not usually looking for certain things from you or prerequisites, versus the employee side, they usually are. And I would say a great way to show, because learning about the industry can be difficult. There's a lot of trainings out there, but if you're an employee, if you're looking for the employee route to unlock a lot of those trainings with the consortia or with the host agency, you have to belong to them. But you're looking to be an employee, so that's a little bit difficult. But one I would recommend is I worked with ASTA and wrote their roadmap to becoming a travel advisor course, which is just kind of like how being a travel agent works and how the travel industry works 101. It's a 240-page manual. It's really, really great. There's one for employees and there's one for independent contractors. So we will put a link to that in the comments, but that's a really great one. It also includes ASTA's membership, which is our national trade organization, for 1 year. So great deal to be had there. And I think that's about all I've got. I know for us too, if we were hiring someone on as an employee with my parents' agency, one of the things that was really attractive is if you could already bring a book of business. So say your sister-in-laws all go on a cruise to Alaska every year or to a different place. Mention that you've been booking it for a long time and that you would like, or like if your church is going to Israel and you are organizing it, or you'd like to organize it. All of these things can tell the agency owner that the risk for you is a lot less, because you're going to be able to bring in some business if they're going to go through the work of training you. So best of luck, Chrystal. Very excited to hear how things go. All right. This is a tricky one, anonymous, and I'm glad you're here and asked this because it's an important one. I decided to expand my agency and diversify income. I plan to open my host agency division soon. Do you have any tips for someone starting a host agency from scratch? I have a lot of tips. What about you, Lindsay?
I just be careful. I am. So my advisors, I always say my favorite F word is fiduciary, and it's for the advisor to the client, but it's also for the host agency to the IC. So the fiduciary responsibilities that a host agency has to its advisors are extensive. and expensive if you don't do it correctly. So I would definitely have some long conversations with your attorney and make sure that you know what you need as far as insurance, as far as anything organizing your back office. You're going to be dealing with a lot of tax information for your W-9s. You're going to be dealing with a lot of commissions processing. You're going to be dealing with a lot of service issues. I mean, just kind of countless. So I would definitely take it one step and ask yourself really why why do you want to do this. We love our hosting division. We've been doing it for about 30 years, but it has definitely requires resources, it requires attention. It's what I do all day every day pretty much, and I have help. So I would definitely proceed with wisdom and some caution, but talk to your attorney, make sure that you're protected first.
Yeah, and I would say proceed with a lot of caution. Going into, I don't want to scare anyone, but going into hosting is not something to do willy-nilly, because it seems like a really great idea. You can diversify your income, and everyone after the pandemic is like, that's a great idea. But the downside to it that not a lot of people talk about is host agencies deal with really serious fraud issues. It can be whether it's known fraud, where a new advisor is booking something and they book someone with a fraudulent credit card for $8,000. And then when the chargeback comes, the advisor doesn't have it and leaves the host agency with the bill. Those are real scenarios. So it could be something like that, or it could be someone that's got a completely stolen identity, came on as an independent contractor, and that was their goal in the very beginning, was to try to book a bunch of tickets or book a bunch of hotel rooms free of charge on your dime. So we are going to link to, we do have a couple of resources. They are a little bit older, but I think even though they're older, fraudsters are constantly reinventing themselves. But having some reading through this and knowing what type of fraud is available, even if you're actually just not wanting to be a host agency and you're an advisor out there that's newer, read through these, because you should be aware of like the red flags. Like if your gut is giving you something, like, someone calls up and they need to get to Libya in 2 weeks because someone died, or, whatever it is. And something just didn't sit right with you about the conversation, there's probably a reason why. So read through those. We'll link to that. The other thing I'll share is ARC has a really great fraud resources page, and that is kept more up to date than our articles. There's a team actually at ARC that deals with fraud. That's all they do in stopping the fraud in the GDS system. So they are very on top of what is happening, the latest fraud techniques that are out there. And if you are going to go hosting advisors, I've told this story before, but my parents were hit with 6-digit fraud early on when I was with their host agency. And obviously very, very, very painful. So things I would recommend: one, always do background checks and credit checks on your advisors. We're going to put a link into Verif, which is, I think it's Lori Spears from Lavarte says she uses this and really loves this for identity verification. We'll link to the Professional Association of Travel Hosts. This isn't going to be a great resource for those of you with less than 50 independent contractors, because they only accept larger hosts into their program, but something to be aware of. And then other things, simple things you can do when you're bringing on independent contractors. If it's someone they're probably not trying to swindle you. If you have someone that reached out to you, say you're listed on host agency reviews, we have host agencies are listed for free on there. They found you on host agency reviews and they want to sign up. Always get that background check, that credit check. Simple things like Googling the social security number, the name of the person, the birth date, Googling the address, looking it up on Google Maps. All of those things could have stopped the fraud at my parents' agency, but we just didn't know to do it. So for everyone that's signing on, really do your due diligence, look on their social accounts, make sure that everything looks legit. We did have a host agency that a smaller host agency that was listed on the site and was hit with fraud. And she wrote and said, you know, can you take me off the site? I was just hit with fraud and I don't want to do hosting anymore. So this is a real thing. And like we said, we don't want to scare anybody, but you should be scared and have a reasonable amount of fear about going into hosting. So,
and I think also stuff in addition to that, though, in addition to the fraud, there's also the reputational damage that can come with a poorly qualified advisor. And so even with airlines, they can cancel your contracts. If you've got an advisor who's acting a fool and they do enough damage, the airline can completely just cancel your entire contract with them, hotel chains, etc. So again, just to kind of reinforce that, it's kind of a big ask. It's a heavy lift to go into the hosting side of things.
That's a great point as well. We need a little pick me up. I'm hoping this next question will be a pick me up after my doom and gloom. Okay. It's not necessarily a pick me up, but Lindsay, this is going to be on you to lift everyone's spirits. We have from Anonymous. I know you are a hotel lover and hotel snob. So, hi, I am wondering how to join preferred agency programs like Marriott Luminous, Hyatt Prive, sorry.
Yeah.
You can tell I am not a hotel snob, everybody. All the programs say they are invitational only, but I'm wondering what the general criteria is. Does joining a consortium help me to become eligible? So, Lindsay, talk to us about A, what hotel programs are for those that don't know, and B, how people tap into them.
Hotel preferred partnerships are created by the hotel to drive direct to hotel business. So special rates and amenities, Four Seasons preferred, Marriott had stars. Previously it was Ritz-Carlton stars, then now it's Marriott stars. Luminous is the 4-star level one. Hyatt Prive, you've got Rosewood Elite, you've got Belmont Bellini Club. So kind of all the big chains have their own special little program for advisors to work with. Depending on the program, generally the consortia doesn't matter. However, joining a good host agency can. It's all based on volume, so sales volume, and it's dependent upon what they want to see from you. So let's say agency X is talking to this hotel program and agency X has 150 advisors. This hotel program isn't going to look the same at the revenue generated from that agency versus the one that has 10 advisors and is selling the same amount, kind of a thing. So it's all a volume game. It's all sales. They typically want to see that you're selling kind of their hallmark properties. They don't want to only see the city hotels, you know, the more corporate use hotels. They want to see that you're using more of the resorts. So it's generally just being able to provide a fulsome booking overview of the entire brand, a general appreciation of your demographic of the brand.
That was well said. I am gonna, so if you are wondering too, because Lindy talked about the host, how they can move the needle for you. If you are wondering about these specific programs for potential host agency partners, one of the things you can do is on profiles, there's the question and answer section. You can go in here and really quickly ask 10 different host agencies, are you a member of X, Y, and Z? And then other advisors will be able to read that and learn from it as well. So that's a great way to do it. And great question, Anonymous. I don't know if everyone's feeling uplifted now, but hopefully they are. Lindsay, we have reached the end of our time today. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to chat more about your Alaskan trip or hotel?
Hopefully I see more baby otters. L Taylor at tl365.com is how to get me.
Perfect. We will drop that in the comments for people. We will also link to Travel Leaders 365's profile for those that are looking to learn more about them. Quick update on who is upcoming for our Friday 15th. So next week we have Nexion and we will be chatting with Heather Kindred. September 27th, we'll have Travel Edge on. October 4th, Lori Spears will be coming at us from Levarte Travel. And then October 11th, we have Pickles Travel Network. So if you have questions for any of these specific host agencies, because they're all hosts, go to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15 and you can submit your questions there. about hosts or anything else. If you want to know about baby otters, who knows? We might have answers for you. So thank you all for joining us. Lindsay, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Steph, for having me. I'm grateful.
Yes. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody. Don't forget to sign up for the alerts for the Friday 15 at hostagencyreviews.com/Friday 15. And we will see you next week, 12 p.m. Central Time. Ciao.